Alright everybody, if you're reading the paper book, it's on page 257. If you're listening along, here we go. Maurice and Eddie ran after it, with the few policemen running after them shouting, "Hey, you need a permit for that!" "Now would be a good time to leave," Annabeth said. "The other animals first," Grover said. "I cut the locks with my sword." Grover raised his hands and spoke the same goat blessing he used with the zebra. "Good luck," I told the animals. The antelope and the lion burst out of their cages and went off together into the streets. Some tourists screamed. Most just backed off and took pictures, probably thinking it was some kind of stunt by one of the casinos. "Will the animals be okay?" I asked Grover. "I mean, the desert and all." "Don't worry," he said. "I placed a satyr sanctuary on them." Meaning they'll reach the wild safely," he said. "They'll find food, water, shade, whatever they need until they find a place safe to live." "Why can't you place a blessing like that on us?" I asked. "It only works on wild animals." "So it would only affect Percy," Annabeth reasoned. "Hey!" I protested. "Kidding," she said. "Come on, let's get out of this filthy truck." We stumbled out into the desert afternoon. It was 110 degrees easy, and we must have looked like deep-fried vagrants, but everyone was too interested in the wild animals to pay us much attention. We passed the Monte Carlo and the MGM. We passed by pyramids, a pirate ship, and the Statue of Liberty, which was a pretty small replica, but still made me homesick. I wasn't sure what we were looking for. Maybe just a place to get out of the heat for a few minutes, find a sandwich, and a glass of lemonade, make a new plan for getting west. We must have taken the wrong turn because we found ourselves at a dead end, standing in front of the Lotus Hotel and Casino. The entrance was a huge neon flower, and the petals lighting up and blinking. No one was going in or out, but the glittering chrome doors were open, spilling out air conditioning that smelled like flowers, lotus blossom maybe. I never smelled one, so I wasn't sure. The doorman smiled at us. "Hey kids, you look tired. You want to come in and sit down?" I learned to be suspicious the last week or so. I figured anyone might be a monster or a god. You just couldn't tell. But this guy was normal. One look at him I could see. Besides, I was so relieved to hear somebody who sounded sympathetic that I nodded and said we'd like to come in. Inside we took one look around and Grover said, "Whoa!" The whole lobby was a giant game room, and I'm not talking about the cheesy old Pac-Man games or slot machines. There was an indoor water slide snaking around the glass door, which went straight up at least 40 floors. There was a climbing wall on one side of the building, and an indoor bungee jumping bridge. There were virtual reality suits with working laser guns, and hundreds of video games, each one the size of a widescreen TV. Basically, you name it, this place had it. There were a few other kids playing, but not that many. No waiting for any of the games. There were waitresses and snack bars all around, serving every kind of food you can imagine. "Hey!" a bellhop said. At least I guess he was a bellhop. He wore a white and yellow Hawaiian shirt with lotus designs, shorts, and flip-flops. "Welcome to the Lotus Hotel. Here's your room key." I stammered, but... No, he said, laughing. "The bill's taken care of. No extra charges, no tips. Just go on to the top floor. Room 4001. 4001. If you need anything like extra bubbles for the hot tub, or skeet targets for the shooting range, or whatever, just call the front desk. Here's your Lotus cash cards. They work in the restaurant and all the games and rides." He handed us each a green plastic credit card. I knew there must be some mistake. Obviously, he thought we were some millionaire sons, but I took the card and said, "How much is on here?" His eyebrows knit together. "What do you mean?" "I mean, when does it run out of cash?" He laughed. "Oh, you're making a joke. Hey, that's cool. Enjoy your stay." We took the elevator upstairs and checked our room. It was a suite with 3 separate bedrooms and a bar stocked with candy, sodas, and chips. A hotline to room service. Fluffy towels and water beds with feather pillows. A big screen television with satellite and high-speed internet. The balcony had its own hot tub. And sure enough, There was a skeet shooting machine and a shotgun, so you could launch clay pigeons right over the Las Vegas skyline and plug them with your gun. I didn't see how that could be legal, but it was pretty cool. The view of the strip and the desert was amazing, though I doubted we ever find time to look at the view of a room like this. Oh, goodness, Annabeth said. This place is... Sweet, Grover said. Absolutely sweet. There were clothes in the closet and they fit me. I frowned, thinking this was a little strange. I threw Aries' backpack in the trash can. We wouldn't need that anymore. When we left, I could just charge a new one at the hotel store. I took a shower, which felt awesome after a week of grimy travel. I changed clothes, ate a bag of chips, and drank 3 Cokes. Came out feeling better than I had in a long time. In the back of my mind, some small problem kept nagging me. I had a dream or something. I needed to talk to my friends, but I wasn't sure I could wait. I came out of the bedroom and found Annabeth and Grover. Grover had showered and changed clothes. Grover was eating potato chips to his heart's content, while Annabeth cranked up National Geographic Channel. All those stations, I told her, and you chose the National Geographic? Are you insane? It's interesting. I feel good, Grover said. I love this place. Without his even realizing it, the wings sprouted out of his shoes and lifted him a good foot off the floor and then back down again. So now what? Annabeth said. Sleep? Grover and I looked at each other, grinned. We both held up our green plastic Lotus cash cards. Playtime, I said. I can't remember the last time I had so much fun. I came from a relatively poor family. Our idea of splurge was eating out at Burger King and renting a video. A 5-star Vegas hotel? Forget it. I bungee jumped the lobby 5 or 6 times, did the water slide, snowboarded the artificial ski slope, and played virtual reality laser tag and FBI sharpshooter. I saw Grover a few times, going from game to game. He really liked the reverse hunting thing where the deer go out and shoot the rednecks. I saw Annabeth playing trivia games and other brainiac stuff. They had this huge 3D sim game where you build your own city. You can actually see the holographic buildings rise on the display board. I didn't think much of it, but Annabeth loved it. I'm not sure when I first realized something was wrong. Probably it was when I noticed the guy standing next to me at the VR sharpshooters. He was 13, I guess, but his clothes were weird. I thought he was an Elvis impersonator's son. He wore bell-bottom jeans, a red t-shirt with black piping, his hair was permed, and he smelled and gelled like a New Jersey girl on homecoming night. We played a game of sharpshooters together, and he said, "Groovy, man. Been here 2 weeks, and the games keep getting better and better." Groovy? Later, while we were talking, I said something was sick. He looked at me kind of startled, as if he never heard the word used that way before. He said his name was Darren, but as soon as I started asking him questions, he got bored with me and started to go back to the computer game. I said, "Hey, Darren." "What?" "What year is it?" He frowned at me. "In the game?" "No, in real life." He had to think about it. 1977. "No," I said, getting a little scared. "Really?" "Hey, man, bad vibes. I got a game happening." After that, he totally ignored me. I started talking to people, and I found it wasn't easy. They were glued to the TV screen or the video game or food or whatever. I found a guy who told me it was 1985. Another guy told me it was 1993. They all claimed they hadn't been here very long, a few days, few weeks at most. They didn't really know, and they didn't care. Then it occurred to me how long I'd been here. It seemed like only a couple hours, but was it? I tried to remember why we were here. We were going to Los Angeles. We were supposed to find the entrance to the underworld. My mother, for a scary second, I had trouble remembering her name. Sally Jackson? I had to find her. I had to stop Hades from calling World War III. I found Annabeth still building her city. "Come on," I told her. "We've got to get out of here." No response. I shook her. "Annabeth." She looked up annoyed. "What?" "We need to leave." "Leave? What are you talking about? I've just got the towers. This place is a trap." She didn't respond until I shook her again. "What?" "Listen, the underworld, our quest." "Oh, come on, Percy, just a few more minutes." Annabeth, there's people here from 1977, kids who've never aged. You check in, you stay forever. So? She asked. Can you imagine a better place? I grabbed her wrist and yanked her away from the game. Hey! She screamed and hit me, but no one else even bothered looking at us. They were too busy. I made her look directly in my eyes. I said, spiders, large, hairy spiders. That jarred her. Her vision cleared. Oh my gods, she said. How long that would have been? I don't know, but we've got to find Grover. We went searching and found him still playing virtual deer hunter. Grover! We both shouted. He said, die, human. Die, silly, polluting, nasty person. Grover! He turned the plastic gun on me and started clicking, as if I was another image on the screen. I looked at Annabeth, and together we took Grover by the arm and dragged him away. His flying shoes sprang to life, and he started tugging his legs in the other direction as he shouted, No! I just got to a new level, no! The Lotus bellhop hurried up to us. Well, now, are you ready for your platinum cards? We're leaving, I told him. Such a shame, he said, and I got the feeling that he really meant it, that we'd really break his heart if we went. We just added an entirely new floor of games for platinum card members. He held out the cards, and I wanted one. I knew that if I took one, I'd never leave. I'd stay here happy forever, playing games forever, and soon I'd forget my mom and my quest, and maybe even my own name. I'd be playing virtual rifleman with this groovy disco Darren forever. Grover reached for the card, but Annabeth yanked back his arm and said, No thanks. We walked toward the door, and as we did, the smell of food and the sounds of games seemed to get more and more inviting. I thought about the room upstairs. We could just stay the night, sleep in a real bed for once. Then we burst through the doors of the Lotus Casino and ran down the sidewalk. It felt like afternoon, but the same time of day we'd gone to the casino. But something was wrong. The weather had completely changed. It was stormy with the heat, lightning flashing out in the desert. Aries' backpack was slung over my shoulder, which was odd, because I was sure I'd thrown it in the trash can in room 4001, but at the moment I had other problems to worry about. I ran to the nearest newspaper stand and read the year first. Thank the gods, it was the same year it had been when we got in. Then I noticed the date, June 20th. We'd been in the Lotus Casino for 5 days. We had only 1 day left until the summer solstice. 1 day to complete our quest. Chapter 17. We shop for waterbeds. It was Annabeth's idea. She loaded us into the back of the Vegas taxi as if we had any money, and told the driver, Los Angeles, please. The cabbie chewed his cigar and sized us up. That's 300 miles. For that you gotta pay up front. You accept casino debit cards? Annabeth said. He shrugged. Some of them. Same as credit cards, I gotta swipe them through first. Annabeth handed her green Lotus cash card. He looked at it skeptically. Swiped it, Annabeth invited. He did. His meter machine started rattling, the lights flashed. Finally, infinity's symbol came out next to the dollar sign. The cigar fell out of the driver's mouth and he looked back at us, his eyes wise. Where to Los Angeles, Your Highness? The Santa Monica Pier. Annabeth sat up a little straighter. I could tell she liked Your Highness thing. Get us there fast and you can keep the change. Maybe she shouldn't have told him that. The cab's speedometer never dipped below 95 the whole way through the Mojave Desert. On the road we had plenty of time to talk. I told Annabeth and Grover about my latest dream, but the details got sketchier the more I tried to remember them. The Lotus Casino seemed to have short-circuited my memory. I couldn't recall where the invisible servant's hand had sounded like, though I was sure I knew it was somebody new. The servant called the monster in the pit something other than my lord, some special name or title. The Silent One, Annabeth suggested. The Rich One, both of those are nicknames for Hades. Maybe, I said, though neither quite sounded right.